My goodness, it's been too long. Too long since I've seen a Nic Cage movie. And boy, was this a good one. Except for the fact that I'm probably going to do more acting in this video than he did in that movie. But without further ado, let's get into it. What's going on, Dungeon Dwellers? Welcome back to Dave's Dungeon. I am your host, as always, the one, the only, Dungeon Master Dave. Thank you for joining me once again. And guys, thank you so much for watching up to this point. You guys have, blown up the first few videos of this series beyond my expectations. So, on behalf of me and everyone else over here in the dungeon, thank you so much for watching. And make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button, because that lets us know we're doing a good job. And make sure you subscribe for more good spooky content. And maybe one day I'll get back to playing video games when life quits burning down and all of existence quits going through an apocalypse. But anyways, today we're going to be going through an apocalypse of a different kind. Willy's Wonderland. Oh, my goodness. Depends on what you want from this film. This film has a few different scores. If you're like me and you enjoy a really good Nicolas Cage chewing on the scenery film, this is a 10 out of 10. End of review. Turn it off. Go watch this film 5 times if you love Nic Cage. Just straight up. Just straight up. I probably won't be watching the other film I was planning on watching for the rest of the evening. I'm just going to watch Willy's Wonderland 4 more times. Because it's a 10 out of 10 when it comes to Nic Cage content. And we need that. Everybody needs more Nic Cage content. Just Nic Cage just shaking something until it falls to pieces, or banging it to death, or whatever. Okay? And this movie provides it. And some people may be going, now come on, Dave, can you really say Nic Cage even acted in this movie, seeing he had no speaking lines? Yes, I can, because Nic Cage wore a cage cam. That's how much Nic Cage is in this film. Nic Cage. Okay. For those of us who are in this cult, hi. I like you, you like me, and we all like Nic Cage. Okay? So we can just get in the car, just get in the van, go watch this film, find it wherever you can, and absolutely, if you're a Nic Cage fan, absolutely must see. And I have to say, is on par with the rest of his work. It really is. He delivers what for Nic Cage is a performance I thought not possible. I didn't think he could I didn't think he could act without acting. And he did. He did a really weird job that made me question, all these different things about him in a way that I think only grifters can do. But my God, it was so good. So for those of you who came for the Nic Cage review, 10 out of 10. Go see, must see. Absolutely great film. For those of you who came for the normal movie review, I can't recommend this film to anybody with any kind of sense of movie taste, anybody who wants to analyze a plot structure. This is not your film. This is not our cup of tea, where we break everything down in the plot, setting, structure, tension, all that. It's not that kind of film. This calls back to the early 80s and late 80s, early 90s horror genre of the slasher film. And it really does a good job of that. It really sort of boils down what it takes to get there and encapsulates that within the plot without any fuss at all. Okay, it really just drops you in the middle of it. But that's not a huge detriment given what this film's doing. This film's really trying to just have some fun, and by fun I mean untold, unbridled carnage. This is a catharsis film. This is totally the explanation of sort of the violent tendencies we all kind of feel towards the things that were supposed to be nice to us. Looking at you, society, all these things that we feel sort of tamped down by, stomped on a little bit. Yeah, like I said, a traditional analysis of this film is no good because this film has nothing to do with sort of the high mind of horror. It has everything to do with the fun side of horror, which is exactly what we all need right now, especially after that last film. After The Empty Man, this is perfect. This is perfect. I get to wash the taste of that film out of my mouth with Nic Cage clubbing something to death. Yes! Oh, you thought the Nic Cage review was over. No, we're going back. It's Nic Cage 24/7. Nic Cage nonstop. It's Nic Cage all the time. Nic Cage, Nic Cage, Nic Cage. Yeah, that's this film. It's literally. Did you want to see a Nic Cage? Because Nic Cage is getting involved in Nic Cage. Yeah, it's a weird world, man. Full of Nic Cage. I'm sorry, I'm having a little fun. I'm slapstick. It's like 6 in the morning and I'm making this damn review, so bear with me. But no, it literally, this review is as slapstick as this movie is, and honestly, the plot's like a 6. Because like it makes absolute no sense, but at the same time, it does the best job it can of staying the hell out of the way. The special effects in this film, I have to actually say, I'm gonna give it a 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. Because it's I don't want to say they look bad, but they're just real enough. They're just gory enough. They're just real enough. They're just there. I don't really want to say they're bad because for what they've done, it's ambitious. It's really ambitious. I mean, you have 8 animatronics in this film. By the way, test for you. If you watch this film, in the comments down below, can you tell me all 8 names of all animatronics? I'll do it at the end of the film to prove to you that I know all 8 names. So tell me down in the comments what the names are. Go ahead and do it. You know you can, or some of you need to go back and watch it again, because this movie had such a great cast, and I'll say that to the plot's credit. If you didn't care about any of the human characters, you did care about Nicolas Cage and his menagerie of animatronics. And the animatronics were varied and personable enough in and of themselves to drive you insane trying to watch this movie. Without the warm comfort that is Nic Cage, this film would have been awful, just terrible. It has no structure. It has the special effects it has, which are great, I think, for what they're going for, but maybe a little ambitious. Some of it did seem like you were fighting a Beanie Baby at some points, and that's fine. But at other points, it seemed like you were fighting a blender, which, yeah, I don't know. It seemed inconsistent with that sort of level of violence the animatronics were able to sort of rise to versus good old Nic Cage. God, this is the review of how many times can I say his name in you know quick succession, and it's honestly, more times than you can say Cthulhu or Rayleigh or, Hester. Trust me, I'm going to say Nic Cage enough times to summon him as an eldritch horror. You understand? Because that's kind of, this movie had a surprise element of that. Had a surprise element of paranormal, sort of spooky magic element. And, of course, there was, it's animatronics coming alive to kill people. How else are they doing that other than, well, some crap guy got inside of them and is trying to kill people? So that makes, as much sense as that makes. Man, trying to describe some of this stuff is like, Jesus, what a mind job. Tension. This movie's on a timer, man. Nic Cage has like a stopwatch for like when things are supposed to happen. So like, I don't know how much tension. Well, I don't want to say that. Tension with him always feels sort of artificial because it's Nic Cage. Nicolas Cage is like the cocoon version of Chuck Norris. Okay. He is pure energy and delight in cocaine form. But anyways, I love the man. I only say that as a joke because he's bombastic as all get out. And I saw Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. Yeah, I know how much cocaine you did on that movie shoot. Enough that your head burst into flames. Anyways, this is not a review of Nic Cage, though it should be. The gore in the film. For those of you who are sensitive to gore, why are you watching my reviews? I'm sorry. You've picked the wrong series. There's a movie coming along that I know of that is going to absolutely just... Some of you are going to get just murked by the gore score. And I feel bad for you. Because this whole project might be a little squeamish for some of you. Now, that being said, given my level of appreciation for gore, I think this movie did just enough carnage to make all the activity satisfying without the need to actually destroy stuff, Without the need to see somebody hacking through somebody. It did carnage just right. It was like the perfect amount of seasoning on something that you're trying to eat. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. Victim and killer. Well, hold on, let's make sure. We went through plot. Yeah, plot's 6. Special effects was 8. Tension, let's say, it's a 6. And then gore was really like I'd say the gore of the film, if it's not why you're there, you're not there for the right reason. So I'm going to give that I think that is a 9, maybe a 10. I mean, if you really want to go there and you're there for the absolute carnage and madness of this film, it's the 10 of the film. The sort of like what we're getting up to of the carnage is absolutely what you're here for. It's exactly what you want out of a film about a dude dealing with animatronics that are trying to murder people. It just completely works. Victim and killer. I have to give this one like a 7. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong, but some of the animatronics, man, they just don't work. And you're trying to put them in the victim and killer spot. You're trying to put, you're trying to put killer animatronics in the killer spot, and it just doesn't work next to Nic Cage. I mean, he literally comes in the scene and like unhinges his jaw and bites one of their heads off at one point, and you're just like, yeah, that's Nic Cage. Those I feel bad for those animatronics, and to steal a line from another movie, because the movie doesn't mind doing that. They're not locked in there with, or he's not locked in there with them. They're locked in there with him. Okay, so I have to say that's like a solid 6.5 to 7. It depending on how you feel about Nic Cage, this whole movie benches on that. It all circles back to how much you love Mr. Con Air and Matchstick Man and, oh God, Mandy, and one of last year's favorites, Color Out of Space, which if you haven't seen, oh my God, go see. Eldritch horror like I've never seen it done before, and probably will never see it done again. Nic Cage actually adds to a movie in a way that isn't like abrasive and mostly out of sort of scene. So you absolutely need to see that one. It was a phenomenal film. You can see it on Shudder. The same thing I'll say about this. You need to see this film. I don't know exactly where it's available right now. I think it's available on Shudder. If it's not, it's available on Amazon or HBO. One of the streaming services I know has it. So make sure you check around. You can probably Google it, like the last film did. But I have to give this film, like I said, a solid 10 out of 10 if you're a Nic Cage fan. That's the secret score of this film, is like an A plus. For Nic Cage fans, for everyone else, maybe a C plus. I mean, that's being generous. Some of you, if you really like bad movies, will probably find this, I mean, B minus, depending on how much you really like bad movies. And by bad movie, I mean like slasher B movie type films, not necessarily like awful movies, just lower production movies. For those of you who like lower budget films and things of that nature, indie productions, this is definitely up your alley. Man, I hope they make a sequel to this, and I honestly hope Nic Cage is in it, because he's as scary as Willy is, but at the same time, I think Willy does a good job on its own of sort of establishing this foundational character that needed to be really, really scary. And I think he does that. I think of all of them, you could kind of do away with the rest to a point. There are a few that absolutely would not do away with. But there are a few you might could change up or do away with and just kind of build on the horror that you could generate with a few good ones. The few good ones that you have, and you could have built the tension and the horror and the sort of physical violence more, and not been so scared of, say, having to answer how certain things work. Because I have to say, the body armor was a nice touch. I appreciated that, but I don't know if every person's gonna have gotten what kind of went down there, or how he went through kind of half of that stuff. But we'll talk about that more in spoilers. So for the most part, I'm gonna give this film like an honest B minus, C plus, but at the same time with a big old heart sticker on it of go see this film. It's so much fun. Even if you're not a fan of horror, you might get a kick out of this film. And it has the general bad sort of setup of most slashers. So if you've seen one of these films, you've probably seen them all. But it's been so long since we've had a film like this that actually, gave a crap about what we're actually trying to do in the slasher genre. So, it actually is worth watching, and I really appreciate that. But that's going to do it all. That's that's going to do it for this review. Jesus Christ, I fell off the thought train there hard. Hit the middle rail there. Center. Got so hyped up on Nic Cage. I'm starting a Nic Cage. I had to say it a few more times. I'm sorry. I'll stop. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe. Please ring the bell. Man, I'll get back on track one day. Please ring the bell so you get notifications when I make new content. But that's going to do it for those of you who don't want any more spoilers than I've already given. But for those of you hanging around for the spoiler section, there's only a few things I want to talk about in this section. Because I've already kind of talked about a good bit of the film. But there's a couple of scenes in particular. Artie the alligator, anything with him in it was fantastic to a point. There's a bedroom scene later on that just it felt uncomfortable in sort of the I'm an old man watching this film kind of nowadays. And yeah, as teenagers go, they could have backed that down by half and it still would have been too much. Not that I'm complaining, just saying, that's not, I don't think that's how teenagers do anymore, or ever, for that matter. But Artie the alligator was cool. For those of you who are playing along, are you ready to name them all with me? We'll start with Willy the weasel. That is Artie the alligator next to him, if you're looking at the poster up top. That is, it's not Sam. But that's Ozzy the ostrich, Cammy the chameleon, Nighty Night, Tito the tortoise. I know I'll think of it here in a minute. It's like Simeon Sam. I can't remember his, but he's like it's like a cub or a Sam name. I can't remember the monkey's name. Holy crap. Then there's Siren Sarah, and is that everybody? There's 8 of them. Jesus. But we can actually probably, I think, pull it up here. Make sure I was right. Alright, so it is Willy, Artie, Cammy, Ozzy, Nighty Night, Tito the Turtle, Gus the Gorilla, and Siren Sarah. I almost got them all. And hey, I've been talking for 23 minutes, so I almost got them all, and I was talking for 23 minutes. I'll take the little victories. Oh, but there was that. Let's see, what else? Oh, the sheriff in this movie is an utter just stupid. I hated that part of it because it's like he's doing you a favor. Just let him. No? Okay. Oh, well, he's down to the last one. Oh, he's doing no. You'd rather just lose everything and lose your daughter and all this other. Okay. Forgive me for thinking you're a little stupid for going through all this for nothing. The 2 guys at the end of the film at least had the right idea. Yeah, let's go party because we actually got something out of it. Yay! Wow. Yeah, teach you to. And hey, I thought they were going to leave 2 puppets alive. I really did. I was like, Tito can survive. Man, Tito's got it. Tito didn't die. Tito's good. And then Siren Sarah comes crawling out of a garbage can. And I'm like, oh man, that's the one I didn't want to live. Between her and Cammy, I'm going to have nightmares. And then it's like, no. One of them's gonna commit suicide in the only way possible, which is killing everybody else, and then yeah, we're gonna run over Tito because that shit can't be allowed. And it's like, Jesus, man. And I can't even. And then like the teenagers in like the happy fun room, which they, Jesus, could you have named it anything that made me feel more uncomfortable about what we were doing there? And then you dang Artie the alligator's a sleaze perv. He's in there like, yeah. And I'm just like, no, please, God, no. This alligator though was pretty dope. There's one scene in the air vents where he pops up, where it legitimately scared me. I was legitimately like, ooh, I should tighten up a little bit. I thought maybe I was gonna have a problem, but for the most part, I didn't have any trouble watching this film. It was a relief actually to get to watch this film, given what I've had to go through the past couple of days. Mortuary Collection was good, but this one, the Empty Man before that, was a lot of pain for no payout. So I at least got something out of this, some catharsis. So if you need a little bit of that, make sure you check it out. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna keep it short because I actually really want you to see this film, and it's so silly that I could spoil everything in the movie in like 5 minutes and leave you nothing to watch, or I could tell you enough to get you interested enough to maybe try it out on your own. So we'll stick with that and see if that plays out. If you guys want to know more, if you guys want more details out of my review, please let me know. If you want more out of the spoiler section, please let me know. I mean, if you guys want me dialoguing each part of the movie and telling you what happens at each step, I mean, I'll put together a 4-hour review of each film, but y'all got to wait a few days. I'll put out one a week at that speed, but I don't know. I don't even know if you'd want to watch that, and I don't necessarily want to make that either. So we'll see. I'm really excited to be doing so well though, and kind of getting to push this content out. So I hope you guys are playing along with me at home and getting to watch these movies yourself, and you aren't just listening to me talk about them, because that's the point of horror, is getting to kind of scare each other. So anyways, it's late. I can tell I'm tired, and I can tell this review is kind of like, I guess it's kind of drag a little bit, but I don't feel so bad about that, because this movie kind of, well, it didn't drag, it just didn't do much but what it wanted to do. So anyways, I'm going to sign off before I devolve any further into a Cro-Magnon man who only speaks in small phrase. So thank you so much for joining me, Dungeon Dwellers. I hope to see you in our next journeys. Till then, caveman, go bed.